Think about a world where all problems can be solved, all restrictions can be lifted, and you can reach any goals you set. Why would you do something different? Think about the future a lot. Think about what will happen in 5 years and then return to the present. What should have happened for everything to be perfect in your world? Imagine that everything about your money is great. How much would you make? What kind of luck would you have? What are some things you can do right now to make those goals come true? Imagine that everything in your personal and family life is great. What are your plans for today? What should you do more of and less of? Make the best schedule you can. Plan your year from January to December as if you had no limits. What are you going to change today? Picture that your health and exercise are perfect in every way. What could you do right now to make your dream of yourself come true? In over 300 studies of leaders conducted over the years, one special quality stands out, a unique quality that all great leaders have in common. It is the quality of vision. Leaders have vision. Those who are not leaders do not have it. I previously mentioned that the most important discovery in human history is that we become what we think about most of the time. So what do leaders think about most of the time? The answer is that they think about the future, where they are going, and what they can do to get there. Those who are not leaders, on the other hand, think about the present and the pleasures and problems of the moment. They think and worry about what has happened, and that's it. You cannot change the past. This quality of leadership is called future orientation. Leaders think about the future and what they want to achieve and where they want to be at a given point in the future. Leaders think about what they want and what they can do to achieve it. The good news is that as soon as we start thinking about our future, we begin to think like leaders and will soon reap the same results they do. Edward Banfield of Harvard studied this for 50 years and came to the conclusion that thinking about the long term was the most important factor in determining both emotional and financial success. Banfield said that having a long-term perspective means being able to make choices in the present while thinking about the future several years from now. It's the most important thing that has ever been found. Think about it. The more you think about what you want to happen in the future, the better choices you will make now to make that happen. You could save $100 a month from age 20 to 65 and put it in a mutual fund that earns 10% a year on average. By the time you retire, you would have more than $1 million. If you thought about it for a long time, anyone who really wanted to could save $100 a month. This means that people who start working now can become millionaires over time if they save regularly, start early enough, and don't give up on their long-term goal of being financially independent. Create a 5-year fantasy. Also, in personal strategic planning, you should start with a vision of your life in the long term. You should start by practicing idealization in everything you do. In the process of idealization, create your own 5-year fantasy and start thinking about what your life would look like in 5 years if it were perfect in every way. The greatest obstacle to goal setting is self-limiting beliefs that act in areas where you believe you are somehow limited. You may think you are inadequate or inferior in fields such as intelligence, ability, talent, creativity, personality, or others. As a result, you undervalue yourself. Do not set any goals or set low goals that are far below what you are truly capable of achieving. If you combine idealization and future orientation, you cancel out or neutralize this self-limiting process. Imagine for a moment that you have absolutely no limitations. Imagine that you have all the time, talent, and ability you could need to achieve any goal you set, no matter what your current situation is. Imagine that you have all the friends, contacts, and relationships you need to open all the doors and achieve everything you want. Imagine that you have no limitations of any kind on what you could be, have, or do in the pursuit of the goals that truly matter to you. Charles Garfield found something interesting while studying people who are very good at what they do. He looked at men and women who had been average at their jobs for a long time, but then all of a sudden had a lot of big wins and success. As they were taking off, he saw that they had all started to do something he called thinking about the vastness of the sky. When you think this way, you picture that anything is possible, like looking at a clear blue sky that goes on forever. They picture themselves in the future a few years from now and think that everything in their life is perfect. As they think about where they are now, they ask themselves, what would have had to happen for me to make my perfect future? Next, in their own minds, they think about the present and ask, what needs to happen from now on for me to reach all my goals at some point in the future? When practicing idealization and future orientation, do not settle for compromises in the dreams and visions you have for yourself and your future. Do not settle for smaller goals or partial successes. Instead, nurture big dreams and mentally project yourself forward as if you were one of the most powerful people in the universe. Create your perfect future. Decide what you truly want before returning to the present moment and facing what is possible in your current situation. Start with your business and professional career. Imagine that your work life is perfect 5 years from now. Answer the following questions. What would it be like? What would you be doing? Where would you be doing it? Who would you be working with? What level of responsibility would you have? What kind of knowledge and skills would you have? What kinds of goals would you be achieving? What category would you be in your field? Imagine that you have no limits when you answer these questions. Think about the idea that anything is possible. Drucker once said, "We greatly overestimate what we can achieve in a year, but we greatly underestimate what we can achieve in 5 years." Do not let that happen to you. Now picture yourself having a great cash situation in the future. In 5 years, how much money do you think you'll have? What kind of way of life do you want? What kind of home would you choose? What kind of car would you drive? What kinds of material niceties would you and your family like? How much money do you have saved? How much do you plan to save and put away every month and year? What kind of money do you want when you retire? Imagine that you have a magic whiteboard. You can write anything you want on it. You can erase anything that has happened in the past and create any image you desire for your future. You can clean the board at any time and start over. You are not subject to any restrictions. Imagine your perfect family life. Look at your current family and relationships and project yourself 5 years into the future. If your family life were perfect in 5 years, what would it be like? Who would you be with? Who would you no longer be with? Where and how would you live? What kind of standard of living would you have? What kind of relationships would you have with the most important people in your life 5 years from now? When fantasizing and imagining a perfect future, the only question we ask is how. It is the most powerful question of all. Asking it repeatedly stimulates our creativity and triggers ideas that help us achieve our goals. Unsuccessful people always wonder if a specific goal is possible or not. Those who fully develop their potential only ask how. And then they work on finding ways to turn their visions and goals into realities. Look at every part of your health and exercise levels. Next year, if you were perfect in every way, what would you look like and how would you feel? What weight do you want to be? How long would you work out every week? How healthy would you be in general? What changes do you need to make today to your food, exercise routine, and other health habits so that you can be in great health in the future? After that, picture yourself as a well-known and important figure in your town. There is a big difference between you and the people around you. You change your life and the lives of other people. How would you be involved in the community and your job if everything were perfect? What kinds of groups would you work with and give to? What causes do you care about and believe in deeply, and how can you get more active in them? The key difference between people who get great results and those who don't is how they approach taking action. People who have had amazing success in life are very likely to put their ideas into action. They always do something. They're busy all the time. When they have a thought, they act on it right away. People who don't have many or any wins, on the other hand, always have a good reason for not doing anything today. People often say that the way to hell is made with good intentions. Examine your personal inventory of skills, knowledge, education, qualities, and abilities. If you developed to the highest possible level for yourself, and there were virtually no limits, what additional knowledge and skills would you have acquired within 5 years? In which fields would you be recognized as absolutely excellent in what you do? What would you be doing each day to develop the knowledge and skills you need to be one of the best in your field at some point in the future? When you have answered these questions, the next one is, how do you acquire the knowledge and experience needed to be among the top in your field in a few years? Design your perfect calendar. Decide how you would like your ideal lifestyle to be day after day. Design your perfect calendar from January 1st to December 31. What would you like to do on vacation? How much free time would you like to have each week, month, and year? Where would you like to go? How would you organize your year if you had no limitations and had complete control over your time? The Bible says, where there is no vision, the people die. This means that we get comfortable with ourselves if we don't have a strong vision for the future. We're not excited or motivated about what we're doing. On the other hand, if we have an exciting vision for the future, we will be constantly driven and inspired to take the steps we need to take to make our ideal vision come true. How to be happy. Remember that happiness comes from working toward an important goal. To be happy with yourself and the world, you need goals and ideas that are clear and exciting. You'll feel better and be more hopeful. you'll feel more energized and excited. There will be a drive inside you to get up and move every morning because each step will take you closer to something important to you. Resolve to think about your ideal future most of the time. Remember that the best days of your life are ahead of you. The happiest moments you will experience are yet to come. The highest earnings you will make will materialize in the coming months and years. The future will be better than anything that may have happened in the past. There are no limits. The clearer your long-term future, the more quickly you will attract into your life the people and circumstances that will help you make that future a reality. The clearer you see who you are and what you want, the more you will achieve and the faster in all aspects of your life.